Here we are, another Saturday Night Live Zoom. And Sarah, what were you saying?
I took the half shot of tinctures like 2 hours ago, and man, it really gave me a boost of energy.
Yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it?
You don't need much. It's just, it's just if you look at what's in these tinctures, really, what's in them, right? You get the alcohol sitting in there, extracting the essence of the plants. It's just information, right? So when we're taking these tinctures, which are spirit, we're just putting that information in the body to open up energy channels. That's all the herbs do as far as I'm concerned. Whatever they were, used traditionally and all that stuff they're being used for is irrelevant to me. I understand that they help move stagnant energy. And in the dry fasting is when we can see clearly how that comes into play when you take them on a dry fast. Because what's there? It's just very small amount of liquid, like, minuscule amount of liquid, and the body just wakes up, moving that energy. I started my dry yesterday, and we just came from class, jiu-jitsu. We were doing it outside because freaking Toronto's still in phase 1 and places are still closed down, so we're doing a park. It was
Insanity.
Second device connected.
But the other guys in jiu-jitsu, they don't seem to mind that you guys are rolling, right?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, you guys are just like having physical contact and no one seems to mind.
Well, in the park, there's signs, stay 6 feet apart, blah, blah.
Oh, so you're doing separate exercises, just like.
Oh no, we're doing contact.
Content.
We're doing what we need to do. We don't really care what the powers that want to be say.
Oh, there's plenty of people out there that are just saying, screw this shit.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm asking. So you guys are just rolling. You're rolling jiu-jitsu together. You're playing.
Yeah, we're doing.
Oh, good.
The martial art. Yeah, we're contact. It's like jiu-jitsu, not Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's the original.
Oh, really?
Original Japanese, which everything stems from that. Karate, Aikido, judo.
Yeah.
Everything stems from that. That's the original Japanese.
It's called Senin. Sennin. I used to live over there, but I just happened to know that from a long time ago. Like, Aiki jiu-jitsu stems from an older style called Senin.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
It was the original, but anyway.
That's cool.
Not many people practice it because it's painful. They'll come for a class or two and never see them again. Gone. Just like Master Fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is way more painful, man.
Yeah, well, emotions.
You're just sitting with yourself.
Yeah, emotions. Like, just
Mirrors of truth.
Just watch people go through the experience of master fasting. Just watch it over and over and over. Wow. It becomes clearer and clearer how we are controlled by these powerful fields of emotion, and it goes down through our lineage of our ancestors. So we have to deal with that, or we don't have to. We can continue doing what we're always doing, right? Just let it all be. Wherever it happens, happens. Yeah. But if you want to have any sense of fulfillment and control in your life, you need to do things that we need to do things that we're not comfortable with, and we need to do that over and over and over. Life is not a bowl of cherries. It can be sometimes, but we come up with challenges all the time, right? And
what if you weren't challenged? Freaking, you'd be miserable.
Be boring.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, look at what's going on with everybody being locked up. People are going cuckoo. They're going cuckoo all over.
Happened today.
there's a woman, animal activist. She's in her 60s. She got run over by a tractor trailer at some pig slaughterhouse. There's people are going cuckoo. It was when everything was in lockdown, there was no murders, no nothing. As soon as they opened it up again, the murders started again, and I think it went even more crazy.
Seattle had their first murder today.
Oh, really?
The one that is at the whatever the hell they call it, the Chaz or whatever they call it, chop zone now. It's chop.
Yeah.
They had their first murder inside their utopian society.
Toronto's not like it used to be. It used to be a safe big city, but now there's murders every day downtown. There was a big shootout last week, not far where I grew up from. Like for this, I don't know how many people. It was just like 60 rounds were fired. It was like a war.
Child's play compared to Chicago.
Yeah, well, that's pretty intense for us. But yeah, people need to socialize. We are social beings.
Yes.
And it's healthy to socialize. But if you choose to go within and be in that place of all one, that's even more powerful when you're doing that through your intent and emotion. But for most people, socializing is a must. Most people will not be able to handle being alone and not socializing because they're not brought up and taught.
Why they didn't close the liquor stores?
The liquor stores, they're not going to close.
That's why they didn't close them.
Yeah.
That's why they left them open.
That's essential. So how's everybody doing?
Business is booming.
Business is always booming for the elites. They're the only ones who are allowed to stay in business, right?
Yeah.
They've extended another 2 weeks until the middle of July for Ontario, an emergency state.
You got to open your borders.
It's unbelievable. Unreal.
My farmer buddy usually gets stuff out of Canada to open his stand with, and you're still closed. He's not open.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard being locked down. I'm actually finishing my my 14th day of quarantine in Korea. So after this meeting, I've got 1 more hour, and then I'm free to go outside and mingle, masked up, of course.
Wow.
At least you'll be outside.
Yeah, at least I'll be outside. Yeah, I took 2 tests. I came about 14 days ago and took a test the day I arrived. They swabbed me and they did all that, and then I got self-quarantined in my apartment. And then 2 days ago, I got the second swabbing, and now I guess I'm negative both times, and so I'm free. I'm free today finally, so I get my grand escape. So life is good.
What are you doing in Korea?
Oh, I've been teaching here for years and years. I've been teaching in Korea. Yeah. But I went home last December and then stayed for the holidays, and then all this stuff kind of broke out and I never made it back. So I'm just here now kind of to collect my things and sort of say my goodbyes and then move back to the States where everything's normal.
You want to rethink that one, brother.
No, I know. Yeah, it's pretty much madness. Here they got it pretty well under control. I mean,
they had it under control right from the beginning. They handled it very well.
Yeah, and I mean everything's been like, they even gave me a big old box of, well, I guess food, if you want to call it that. It's a lot of kind of preserved things like Spam and other.
Spam, they still make that stuff.
Oh yeah. No, they actually shut the factory down for the first time since World War II because of the COVID.
Wow.
I don't
Nothing
know if
can hurt Spam.
I think Cornell produces it. Since it's in Illinois somewhere.
Jeez, I ate that stuff many, many, many years ago.
It's like
Lasts
half
forever.
salt. It's like half salt. You can't hurt that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's
Man,
not,
I
it's not
didn't-
tempting.
I haven't looked. I don't go to those sections, so I haven't seen it in the store.
Hey Ben, I
Yeah.
was an English teacher in Japan.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I've got a friend in Japan over there teaching at university and stuff, and I've been doing it here for a long time. So it's a good lifestyle. It's definitely fun.
Why are you coming back?
Well, I mean, I was kind of just, it's funny listening to you talk about like socializing, because I think I missed some of that being here and just wanted to get back and socialize with Americans more and family and stuff like that. So I was kind of ready to go back to the States,
Okay.
just for a change, or maybe go to another country and do something else. But now I'm having second thoughts, of course, and thinking about, what's the best plan of action. So yeah, I mean, everything's kind of up in the air. I've been thinking a lot on it, looking at jobs and kind of going back and forth about things, but just looking for change.
Where are you from in the States?
Well, originally I was born in Philadelphia, but now I'm staying with family in the Boston area.
Yeah, my area, Connecticut.
Yeah, I know you're from Connecticut. Yeah. So not far. My mom was born in Connecticut, so I know the New England area a little bit, but it's still new for me. I mean, I'm still kind of getting used to the Boston area. So, yeah, I mean, I know Korea now better than I know the States for sure.
Do you speak the language?
Bulonijo.
Nice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I do. I've been here like 15 years, and I came as an exchange student when I was 19. So I got here early and then made some connections, and then things opened up, and I was able to come back over and start teaching and stuff, and make a little life of it. So it's good. It's good.
Awesome. Svetlana, how you doing? Can you hear us?
What?
I'm saying hi to Svetlana.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm okay. But I have a question about, I used to be with most of us now already for, I believe from 2017.
Uh-huh.
And lots of people came and go, right? Lots of people. You have so many Zooms, beautiful Zooms, and so many people struggle for most of us, but how many really stick to this lifestyle?
Not many.
Whoever chooses.
What about Marine, and what is he doing? Can you upgrade us a little bit on Marine? And
I have not heard from Marine in a while, but he's still, I heard from somebody else, he's still on liquids. What's your take on other people, Svetlana?
Not from other people, just simply we are influenced by our environment, right? Lots of influence a lot.
Sorry, say that again.
We are influenced a lot by our environment. For example, I'm still struggling to give up certain cooked food. It's already for so many years, I'm still struggling, I fell off, but I always return back. I always return back because I told myself I never give up. I always will climb back to master fast, and it's like my reset. Even if I fell off a lot, like for 10 days, I was, but I still go back. I still take my dry fast and they'll try and return back. So this is my motto. And gradually, during these 3 years, I gave up on lots of food, which were not very good to my health. I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect, but it really helped me to listen to the Zoom and to be inspired by other people.
Yeah, I haven't met anybody perfect. You know, we all have our challenges and so on and so forth. And this is why we're here every week, because supporting each other is inspiring each other. And we keep going. 30 years, keep going. There's almost 31 years. There's no giving up in my mind. It's just continue. Doesn't matter how many times we fall off or whatever you want to call it, we continue.
Not even fall, it's just part of the journey.
Yeah, it's all part of the journey. It's a lifelong journey. There's the people that come and invent it. Those are people that you'll see come and go, and there's many of those. You know, they're looking for something to fix all their challenges, and then they want to go back to their old ways, and that's probably the majority of people. And that's why I was very reluctant to share any information, especially online, because people are, you know, they're just there to take information, and they're not going to utilize it in their life. They're not ready to take charge of their health, because taking charge of your health is a huge responsibility. And it takes work, and it takes work every single day. You have to put effort into it. You can't just do something part-time and expect everything to change.
Yeah, especially I had lots of problems this winter with my teeth. Mm-hmm. So I listened carefully to Zoom. I believe it was September 16, yes, around September 16 last summer, I believe 2016, and it really answered lots of questions, so I don't need to bother you, but it hit me really hard. It hit really hard because I have to extract 3 teeth, and there was no other option like to do, I believe, 2 root canal, and it's really costly. But then I decided simply to make it a little bit in another different approach, to take a long masterclass and then to see what's gonna be. And then I heard your advice to simply to put crown on a live root. So now at least I have some goal. So this is my my path now. So if I can keep the root, I keep the root and put crown on.
Yeah, I did that about 30 years ago. One tooth, they wanted to do a root canal. I said, no way, still have it. Like teeth, when you started having more challenges surface, what were you eating? Were you getting into fats, proteins?
I used to, yes, long ago, because I remember my childhood, yes, it was lots of fats and proteins. Exactly, and I believe this is that what happened when everything starts loosening up, and you know.
Yeah, a lot of people have challenges come up when they start fasting with teeth, because all the weaknesses come to the surface. And you know, look at our modern society. How many people have problems with teeth? Many people, most people, crooked teeth, so on and so forth. That's just by having crooked teeth. That's not natural. That's not you know, the way they're supposed to be. If you look in the animal kingdom, the wild animals, their teeth are straight, solid, unless man has destroyed their environments where they can't get the food that they're designed to eat. Then you'll see problems in their teeth. Teeth is the first thing you'll see when the environments are affected. You know, food supplies and so on and so forth. You know, I've shared my story about me. I had huge challenges with my teeth when I went to the high-fat raw vegan. My goodness, it destroyed. I was lucky I didn't lose anything, but it gave me a big problem. and I lost my hair doing that, and so on. There's many other challenges. But the fats, when you plug up your system, the energy cannot move. And if energy can't move, you have stagnation. You know, anytime you have a toothache, what's the problem? There's you know what they call infections, we call outfections. The body's trying to move obstructions out, and it can't, and it causes a problem. And if you look at whatever tooth you have the problem with, and you look in the Chinese meridian charts, it connects to a certain organ or gland, and that's where you need to work on. And no food is going to help you. You got to clear it out. You got to move the energy in that area, which is stagnant. So that's where the problems with teeth come from. Stagnation, obstruction, just like anything else. You know, it's not fun when you start having challenges with your teeth. That's for sure.
No, it's not.
It's not fun.
No.
So you need to do the best you can to support your teeth, like chewing wild greens daily. Chew wild greens. Go out and get some wild greens, some wild grasses, some herbs and stuff, and just chew them and spit them out after. Just chew them. And use the mishwak, or this is a neem stick. Mishwak is similar, it's just a different tree. Use these to help your teeth and your gums. You know, you just use this instead of a toothbrush, and you can, you know, play with that for whatever, as long as you want. Massaging your gums with your fingers, like really massaging deep all around, all the gums, the top and bottom, to get energy moving in that area. Acupressure points, breath work. The potato breath work is going to help you, because you build up your CO2 to move energy. You're not wearing a mask building CO2. We don't want that. That's rebreathing your exhaling. We don't want that. We want to breathe in. We want to build up the CO2 within the body, and that's going to move energy as well. Exercise, and of course, when we choose to eat, we maintain as clean as possible, you know, as least obstructive. Yeah, if we're going to eat a little bit of cooked food, choose your best options. You know, choosing cooked fruit over anything else would be better, because you know, even cooked fruit is less obstructive than vegetable kingdom. You know, for example, a squash, a baked squash versus a sweet potato or potato. It's going to be way easier to process for the body. Things like that, you know, and then leafy greens and so on and so forth. But you know, most people are going to indulge in this, that, and the other thing. Big deal. The more you do it, the more you're going to want to do it. That's the way it is, because they're addictive. The less you do it, the more you focus on obtaining your energy from other sources, the less you're going to want to eat. So how do we keep the emotion satisfied with different energies? How do we do that? Have any suggestions? Anybody? Besides getting energy from food, what are the other sources of energy?
Meditation. I do meditation. It helps me a lot.
Nutrition?
No, meditation.
Oh, meditation. Yes, sorry.
Meditation.
Yeah, meditation.
For me, it is energy. Yes.
Yes. Meditation is very powerful. You know,
Or going outside barefoot and ground myself. Especially now, I try to switch to 4 days fasting, 3 days eating, because I noticed that on the 4 days I usually overeat. I don't know about how Steve is doing, because looks like his transition is very smooth, but my transition is pretty tough. It looks like emotions I'm building up, and meditation helps to lose these emotions, right? Not to dig into food. Feel my stomach and try to numb everything.
that's all when we reach for food, we're just trying to numb out the emotions that are coming to the surface. So we need to work with emotions. You know, doing the things you love, you know, hobbies, being in the garden like Steve likes to do is a wonderful thing. Going out hiking, you know, some people love art, they dwell into the art. And when you get into those states, you're not going to think about food. You know, just think about, we've discussed this before, when you're a child and you're playing outside. Who thought about food? My parents had to call us over and over and over to go eat. We weren't thinking about food at all. You know, playing all day outside. But it's time to eat.
When we are emotionally upset, right? For example, if something very unbalanced happens, especially in our relationship with the close people, what trigger? Usually we trigger for some kind of food from our childhood, right? So in this situation, what we need to do, we need to have like a switch in our brains that go to do something different. Go for a walk, go for a jog, okay, or I believe some Buddhist guy told like pet a cat, do something different, switch of our mind. But that is really tricky things, to be present and to catch ourselves. That's meditation really helps to be present, to catch. Even what I did, I put some cards on my table. So the choice is yours. So you must be in charge of your choice. So I put some different cards and information, so to be more focused, to be more present. So that's how I gave up lots of different food.
Yeah, awesome. You know, socializing with friends and family that you love to be in that situation. It's another thing. Preparing a meal for a loved one. So a lot of mothers who were doing MFS, right? They commented on how much better their food tasted when they were cooking and preparing meals while they were in a fasting state, because you're doing it all through the emotion, right? You're doing it all through the feels. There's many things. There's limitless ways that we can nurture ourselves, not feed ourselves, but actually nurture ourselves, nurture our emotion. You know, the sun, being anywhere in nature is always awesome, no matter where it is, on the beach, in the mountains, in the forest, in an open field, whatever. Just being outside, which has been a challenge for the last few months for many people. Some places couldn't even go outside. You know, just it's crazy. You know, 600% rise in suicide rates in these last few months. It's insanity. Insanity. It's just we need to socialize with people, and this is why we're here every week. I've been doing this for it's almost 5 years on Zoom, and we continue because we know what it takes. You got to keep doing it. You got to wake up every day and decide, yep, I'm going to continue doing this, and I'm going to continue, and I'm going to continue. There's no other option, because going back to food, I know what that does. Most of us are experts at it, right? Experts at eating, and we know what it does, what it brings us. So how much more eating do we need to do? Yeah, okay, there's no problem if we're going to eat, but let's do it minimal, and let's choose the best things we possibly can. And if we want to indulge in some heavier stuff here and there, yeah, but you know, as long as we're prepared to accept it and be responsible, no big deal. You know, there's no problem. But know that there's consequences from every cause and effect, and that's the way it is. I haven't seen food solve any severe challenges with people. It only brings you so far when you change your diet up to the level of its obstructiveness. You know, if somebody comes from a sad diet, they go into a basic raw food diet, they're going to feel better for a while, up until the body can't move any more energy, right? And then you have to go deeper. So fasting is the only thing. Like I said, when I was on 100% raw food for almost a decade, I looked forward to my season change fast, even eating, you know, 100% raw, mostly fruit and salads. That's pretty much was my diet. That's it for almost a decade. And even by eating that, after, you know, several weeks, a few months, body's going, that's enough food. It's too much. Because I wasn't doing regular fasts week to week in those times, but I was doing it every season change. And we need to have a daily window. We need to have a weekly window, a monthly window, and a season change window. At minimum, we need to have that at minimum. And as time goes on, the people who have come to an understanding and are committed will start expanding the fasting days more and more over the years. And like I said, this lifestyle is not for everybody. And most people will just leave the fasting lifestyle, maybe come back and have another dabble at it in 2-3 years or whatever, a year, 2-3 years. You see that happening with many people. It's just not something that most people choose to make it a part of their lifestyle, fasting. It's just not part of it. Social life is more important than fasting, eating, socializing. It's very difficult for people to do that. And we can make up all the excuses to not fast, but we can make up all the reasons to fast. And we can make a bigger list of reasons to fast versus reasons not to fast. So that's what we need to do. Make our lists of why we want to keep fasting and make that list a lot bigger than the other list. Because what's the other list? We're going to get some joy of socializing, eating together, but that sensation that we love, the taste, it just lasts for those few seconds and it's over, right? And then we have to deal with the digestion and all that. So, how much more pleasure can we have doing that? We're going to have to pay the price every time we eat, to some degree, depending on what we eat. It's challenging. It's not easy, but this lifestyle is simple. It's very simple. Once you've got a hold of it and understand the basics of it, it's not rocket science what we're doing. It's very simple. You have your basic routines and just keep doing them and adjusting a little more here, a little bit less there, or whatever you're doing. There's infinite possibilities in everything we have in this massive fast realm to make it work for anybody. Once you've cleared out a lot of the GI tract, you'll be able to dry fast more and more and more. It's just the way it is, because the body's plasma vacuum tube takes over and you start working with the fields versus matter. And that's all that, it just happens automatically over the years. Everybody's going to have different experiences with time frames and so on and so forth, because we all have different, if we want to call it karma, our ancestral lineage, our environments, et cetera, that have effect on us, and different things in life come upon us for our experiences to learn and so on and so forth. So there's many things to take in consideration. So there's no one answer for everybody. Fasting is for everybody, but it's not something everybody will choose to live. I believe fasting is the divine natural state of all of us. We've been duped into eating physical foods somewhere way back. I don't know how it happened, but I think it was, we've been duped to believe that we need to eat physical foods. And we see in the animal kingdom the results of man's emotion, animals eating each other and so on and so forth. It's all our emotion in the wild kingdom of animals reflecting back at us. It's our mirror of how the state of humanity is emotions. And the more we clean ourselves up, the more we will see the animal kingdom doing less and less of that. That's what I believe. If over the last few years, more and more so, you see animals doing amazing things, helping each other and so on and so forth. It's awesome. If you know what I'm talking about, there's many examples of animals. Was it some ducks or geese feeding fish, and all kinds of stuff like that. So, you know, it's wonderful to see, you know, the day that humanity completely eradicates being a warmonger mentality, the lamb will lay with the lion. That's what I believe, because it's all in the fields. That's the way it is.
Unfortunately, that's our natural state. We've been at war with each other from day one.
Yeah. The warmongering mentality. It's crazy what humans do to each other. And now that we've entered the era of knowledge, the Aquarian age, from, you know, started in 2012, it's a 2,000-year cycle. You know, we're going to see more and more things moving in the direction of peace, balance, correct conduct, because it's that age. And, you know, we just started it. It's a few years. So as we go through the years, we're going to have more and more momentum happening. From my understanding, astrologically, in 2023, there's going to be a major shift energetically to move more and more into that the light field strength. And
The old guard's being swept out.
yeah,
That's
you know,
for sure.
we just got to continuously work on ourselves. We can't change anybody else out there. We have to work on ourselves. And by working on ourselves is how we help everybody else out there through the fields. Those fields, as we get stronger and stronger, those fields will feed more and more. And I see as we move along, you know, more and more people are interested in having a look at breatharianism, or whatever you want to call it. You know, living without any foods, just on liquids or on nothing at all. You know, that's what's happening. More and more people are interested in the concept of being totally outrageous and not possible is, you know, moving more and more into back burner. People are seeing that maybe there is a possibility to get different sources of energy, because the evidence is all around us in the plant kingdom, right? And in the planets, and the atom itself does not consume anything, but it continuously has an orbit within it. We're infinite. Doesn't stop, right? Continuum. What are we made up of? We're made up of atoms, as is everything else in the universe. So if an atom is continuously continuously has orbit within itself, why do we have to consume something to gain our energy? You have to ask yourself these questions. And I can't answer them for you, but from my understanding it's because we are nourished through everything is nourished through the fields, not through physical foods. And our programming and our belief system is so entrenched with believing that we need to eat and drink that if we don't, we will die. We will surely die, because the belief system is powerful, very powerful. You know, just let's give an example, like when a doctor gives somebody 6 months to live, they're usually dead within 6 months. Most people. Why? Because the doctor should never be able to say these things, because they're not God, but they've implanted that in the person, and the person has the belief system in the system, and bye-bye, they're done in that 6 months period. This is you know, this happens over and over and over again. It's not something random. That's why they're very accurate, you know, in telling people how long they have to live, because they're putting that intent and emotion in the person, and the person has the belief system in that intent and emotion, and that is creation itself. Create intent and emotion is creation. So you're creating your reality with your intent and emotion through your belief system, and we're creating our reality with our intent and emotion by living a fasting lifestyle. We choosing, master fasting because it's very prudently structured. It's got a lot of experiences within it, and it works. If you live it, if you do it, and it works. There's no denying anymore. Thousands of people have shown us the power of your soul, what the capabilities of your soul, because master fasting is doing nothing except allowing you to put yourself in a position where your soul can work in autopilot. And how do we do that? We clean out the plasma vacuum tube. Basic, simple. And we do it very prudently and structured and very powerfully. I have not seen anything clean out the physicality, mental and emotion like when you're going through a master fast. A lot of I've seen a lot of people doing cuckoo things and paying the price because somehow they believe they know better than many years of experience. And it's sad, but this happens a lot. We've never claimed we have all the answers, but in everything we've done, in the structure, it works very good and it's very safe when people follow it, correctly, because we understand what has to happen. We have to squeeze and we have to wash. We have to squeeze, we have to wash. Basic simplicity. Keep the energy channels open and flowing. And when we do that, fasting is a much nicer journey. Believe you me, fasting without the tools is not fun. Been there, done that, and seen one too many people get themselves in trouble. So we have tools, use them, and be prudent. Hello, Hans.
Hello, everybody. I just give you a little thing on the energies. What makes an animal, when an animal finds a nut, or in a shell, why does the animal know that there's a nut in there? Because we had a dog, he actually opened up macadamia nuts. And the macadamia shell is awfully tough to open up. How does the animal know that there's a nut in there? How? Energy. The energy of the seed. They pick that up. That's the only reason that they can know that there's a nut in that shell, of the energy that is in there. Because you would never guess that in a macadamia nut, in a shell, there's a nut in there. Because as hard as that bugger is, that's what nature does. It's the energy fields. Because every seed would send energy, has energy. And that energy can be taken by the instincts of the animal. That's why they know there's something in there. And they know there's something in there that they can eat. That's another thing too, because of the energy field that they're in. Just a little side note there. Simple as that.
Yeah. How do we know, how do all the different species know what to eat?
Yeah, same thing. It's the fields. And they know they have the instinct and know I can do that or I can eat that or not. That's all it is. But we've lost that.
We have it within us. We can.
It's there.
Yeah, we can open it up and train ourselves to remember how to use that. It takes work. I found that the more you get in a fasting state, the more these senses awaken, and they work better and better as you go along fasting more and more. Yeah. It's a beautiful place to be.
But you see, it's 100%, because I think everybody that is doing master fasting, when you do a dry fast, when you go and really leave nature by itself, but it's the interpretation of it that's where it all screws up. Like, how do I interpret that what it actually means when this releases, when these feelings come in? Like, think about when you're in a dry fast, like now with the season change. how do you, the feelings and the emotions and the whole thing, what does that actually all mean to you? What, you know, how do you, is that any good or is that bad, or where's the reference, you know? But I think only through continuous repetition and continuously working with that within, you then find the results within yourself. And they're probably for everybody a little bit different. Must be, because everybody feels that differently or has different reactions to it and so on and so on, you know. But in real terms, you know, that feel that, I don't know, for me, it's like, you know, when you're in the dry, how should you explain it? Like that sort of, it draws you at, I don't know, it's just not squeezing, but it's just that empty feeling, that, and then that nothingness that sort of, that is there. I don't know, maybe other people can explain their feeling, how they feel in the dry, but it comes down to the interpretation then, and then of, do you know, because what I feel then is when you come off the dry, the body's talking a hell of a lot to you. You know, like when you then start putting fluid in again, and then, you know, your bowels go again, you know, and whoa, and just, I find then the real recharge happens, you know, when you refuel and refill the body, because then the body has to react. When you don't do anything, the body can do whatever it needs to do, you know what I mean? Like that sort of, and that feeling, you know, that, and how, you know, like, why do we break the fast? Like, coming back to the breatharianism, why can't we extend it? What's holding us up? Why do we break the fast? A lot of times just a reference, oh, we'll just only do it for 72 hours or blah, blah, blah. We set ourselves a limit. But we couldn't bareface the fact to say, oh, well, let's not eat and drink anymore. You know what I mean? Like, because we set ourselves, like, if you want to do, if you 5 days for a season change, that's a goal. That's a set value that you can then achieve and go for. But if you open it, make it open-ended, becomes very hard, doesn't it? Becomes very, like, or not hard, but it becomes a different mind game, completely different mind game. If I know I only do it for 24 hours, okay, 24 hours, I can do it. Open-ended, never drink and never eat. Oh, harder, you know what I mean? Like, it's a different mind game, because, but only through doing it, then you can actually feel, and again, the outcome, the limiting factor, what is it? Your environment that you're in. You know, so think about if you would be in a complete environment with people that in the same mode, and you set your environment that, as I said, there's no advertising, no phones, none, just in your complete, total, conducive environment to live on a breatharian lifestyle. How long could you go for? If you would encourage each other, if you had that vibe from other people, that energy fields from other people. And you also have to learn of living off pranic or of universal energy too. I mean, that's another thing too. You can't just sit down and go on with your business. I think you have to spend a considerable amount of time to then really work on energy uptake that you can feel and that you have, that surrounds you through different ways. I mean, look at how Kesh explains it, you know, like with the, nothing changes, no atom changes over. But what nitrogen does, what oxygen does in your lungs, in your body, there you can have explanations of right or wrong. If you never try, you never know. Simple as that. So it's all there for you to look at, and then how far and how conducive. But, you know, if you have to go back into a work environment and you work in a supermarket, in a bakery, then it's not, you know, like a dry fast becomes a real challenge, you know, like or whatever it is. So, and that's what I'm saying. So that's all areas that, yeah, but definitely, I mean, look at the energy fields. I think everybody in this group can attest to that these energies that come to you and that have an influence on you. As simple as that. But maybe others share that, you know, because that's what how I feel through a dry fast. That if I set myself a time zone, then it's something that I can work towards. But then I ask myself, why do I stop? Why do I stop now? Couldn't I go? Yeah. But then if you, as I said, if I don't go that open-ended, it becomes a real, I don't know, a burden all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Anybody who has a goal to stop eating, they come crashing very quickly. It's not something you want to make a goal. It's the goal to be, it should, no, should be, I don't have a should, but the natural dry fasting state, why do people go back to food? There's many reasons. Number one is the belief system. It's just not ready to stay in that state. It's just not ready. That's one of the main things. Like, just think about when you go on a dry fast and you're going and then things pop into your mind and you decide to break it because of whatever talk came through, right? Or you're feeling something or blah, 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 right? So these are all reasons that people will stop their dry fast, short of probably what they can do. If you're a newbie, follow the basic structure, start off slow. People that jump into long dry fasts early, one too many dry themselves out. When your GI tract is all plugged up, dry fasting will not be your friend. It's going to be very hard on the system. And I'm sure you're going to be hearing more and more people hurt themselves from what I see out there. People jumping in long dry fasts, coming from whatever diets, without even putting any emphasis on cleaning up. So that's not what we want to see here. That's for sure. We have a simple structure and prudent way to do it, and it's proven over and over and over it works. So let's do it that way. But being in that dry fasting state, it goes in waves, in different days, different waves, of energy. And sometimes you'll feel like, I have absolutely no energy. But if you just allow yourself to get into some movement, some breath work, you can turn that around pretty quickly, most of the time. And the energy comes up. I had in long dry fast days where I got out of bed, woke up, I could barely get out of bed, just no energy. And then just start, doing my yoga and breath work, and bang, turn on and full on for the rest of the day. So you have to understand that these waves come and go. When you're in a dry fasting state, or when you're a fasting state generally, there's waves of energy. And you can feel $1 million 1 minute, and you can feel like you're dying the next minute, and you can feel like $1 million again. And that can happen all in one day, especially in a dry fasting state. The changes are more dramatic. So when we have that understanding, and we know it's not because we're lacking nutrition and blah, 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 and water and all that stuff. When we have the understanding that this happens in a fasting state, and we use all the tools to pull us through, because we just have stagnant energy, and we need to move that area of energy. And once the energy moves, bang, we're online again. So once we have that basic understanding, and we practice that and do it over and over, and we go through these experiences, as we go through more and more of those experiences, the confidence starts building up, and we'll be able to go more and more, because we're working on cleaning ourselves so we can go more and more. And that happens over the years for most people of cleaning up. 2 years of cleaning house is not a long time. It's not a long time. 5 years is really not a long time. But if you're really heavy, doing a long, you're choosing to do level 7 in Master Fast, and you're doing that for many, many, many weeks and months, you're going to clean very, very deeply, as we've all witnessed with many, many people. So, like I said, this is a very powerful way for us to clean ourselves up and move in the realm of of field strength and light or prana or whatever you want to call it. And we can live on that because we're doing it anyway, part-time. And we can choose to eat if we want to occasionally. Like I said, the less we eat over time, the better we're going to feel. The more we go back to food, the more we're going to have challenges and we're not going to feel our best. So the choice is always our own of which way we want to go. There's no wrong or right for anybody, but let's face it, most people are not going to stop eating on the planet. Not anytime soon. We're moving in a direction. More and more people are becoming aware of, using fields versus physical foods. The information is in the air, as we call it, and we'll see more and more people moving in that direction. Will we hit exponential growth in our lifetime? Most likely we will, because things are changing, especially in the last 2-3 years. It's been growing a lot more. Since we started sharing about MasterFast, it's made a big impact on the people that are conscious of their health, big time. It's made a huge impact around the globe since this information has gone out there. They're dry fasting. There was hardly any information at all on the internet about dry fasting. When we started sharing about MFS, actually I started sharing about dry fasting first, and then MFS slowly started being structured after that. I think those were my first videos on YouTube and maybe on Facebook. I don't remember, but that was the beginning of 2015. Yeah, we've come a long way, and we've learned a lot in the last 5 years. It's been quite a ride to have many of you guys go through the journeys and continue to contribute and share and keep inspiring each other to keep going forward. Because doing this all on your own, it's pretty challenging, especially in the world we live in today. All kinds of stuff happening. So, keep sharing, keep experiencing. If this lifestyle is not for you, it's not for you. It's okay. No, don't worry about it. But those who choose this lifestyle know the power of the soul working in autopilot, and what are the possibilities. For me, they're limitless. We haven't seen everything yet. We will see more and more miracles, which are becoming walk in the park, because we've seen so many, and people, shrug them off. Oh, okay, another one. It's no big deal.
Hi there. Sorry for no picture. I just feel like private. Can I just share just for a couple of seconds?
Of course.
Remember how I really am against this lifestyle thing? I mean, I want a lifestyle, but I don't want these levels. And I said, oh, I want 7. I want lifestyle 7. Every single day, I start out like plus A and energy and going, go. Love the dry. Don't even notice that I'm dry fasting. And I work with babies, and I come home, and all I can think is just, I can't go to sleep without eating something. I don't know what it is. Every night, and it's been 2 weeks now. That's 14 nights. And I
So did you listen to the word you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Every night I can't go to bed without eating. That's what you're creating, right?
Yeah. And I don't want to. I just like.
Yeah.
Almost like a little devil sitting on my shoulder. Like, come on, Marco, you can do it.
We've
So a
all
little
been
bit more hard. Because I do animals every day as well. Every morning I do an hour of washing all the way to the ascending colon, like all the way to the season. It's washed out.
Every time we start after eating, if we start into fasting, the first few days are always the most challenging. Once you start clearing out the food, it becomes easier and easier as we move along until we get into an area where there's some obstructions that got to move out. We go through a little healing reactions or whatever. But for the most part, it gets easier as we're clearing out, as waves.
You want to hear the funniest part? My sister in England wants to lose weight, desperately wants to lose weight. I said, well, why don't you try Master Fast? So she's on like day 17, no problem. Like, what the heck? I'm just shocked.
No, we've seen people from sad diets to 108 days, no problem. But then after,
I see. Yeah. She's asking me how to break it because she only wants to go 30 days. So I'll guide her to the webpage and get her to read it. Her English is not so good, so I usually do the translating for her. But effortless for her. It was not the first day. She said, "Oh, I'm a little bit dizzy. Is that normal?" I said, "Yeah, normal. Keep pushing. I'm the best teacher, and I can't even do myself."
Aranka, have you, for me, sleep has always been my biggest challenge. And one of the main reasons I got into Master Fast was just having sleep problems. But one thing I've been noticing is if I clean later in the day, because I've or maybe twice a day, once in the morning and then again at night, is that cleaning in the evening that kind of puts me down. So have you tried that at all? Have you tried doing the cleanings like toward bedtime rather than in the morning or in addition to the morning times?
That's why I'm private right now, because I am doing it right now. And it's the evening. So I tried. I think, okay, I'm going to just prevent this little, okay, today's a weekend. So I seem like a bulimic to my family, and I understand because, I will eat at night, not pig out, just a little bites here and there, but not good food all the time. Green juices and stuff. And so now I'm going to do evening. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm hoping to do that.
It'll happen when you're ready. Like, what's your reason for not wanting to live without food?
Oh, freedom.
Freedom.
I see this the ultimate freedom. Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, that's the only reason. Is that a bad reason?
No, I'm just asking. I'm just curious, right? I'm just honest.
No, nothing. I just don't want to go to the bathroom. I don't want to put anything in. I don't want to think about food. Nothing. I opened the fridge 20 times. There's like nothing there. It's full. I can take a picture for you. It's full, crammed for my family, but nothing interesting.
So you have other family members in the home?
Oh yeah. I have 7 people in the house. So everybody eats.
Yeah, it's a bit challenging when you're around other people, doing their eating rituals and so on and so forth.
And the worst challenge is everybody's vegan, right? And healthy, low fat, vegan. Okay, there you go. So it's not even bad abomination. It's nothing.
Yeah,
it's totally justified to eat a little cracker with a bit of hummus here and there. Oh gosh. Anyway, just wanted to let you know. That's why I haven't been posting or raving about my success, but it will come. Okay, it will come. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, you're continuously having your focus to be on the journey, and that's all that matters. So it doesn't matter that for the last couple of weeks you've eaten every night. So what? You're continuously focused, and that's all it takes. And when we're ready, we will be able to let go of the food. It's not something that we're going to say, okay, we're done with food. That puts way too much pressure on people's emotions. It's not going to happen like that. It's going to happen naturally on its own, that you're going to just not think about food anymore, and you're going to continue.
Yeah, I think Hans Peter is right. If you keep it open-ended, oh boy, it's too scary. So
it's
better go one day at a time.
Yeah, I understand. You know, yeah, freedom. That sure, it's a huge sense of freedom. You don't have to eat and drink. There's maybe, you know, I don't know, a handful of people living with no food and no liquid on the planet. Maybe there's more hiding. I don't know, but it's not many at this time. There's very few. The Indian fellow that was 90 just passed away. He was over 70 years with no food and water. You know, Pujani, what was his name? Pujani or something? Yeah, he just passed away about a week ago. So you're still gonna die if you don't eat and drink.
Oh, Prahlad Yani, yeah. I was wondering how come he just gone?
Well, it could be that, you know, he just decided to leave the body and gone that way. There's also, we can get into a state of turning the physical body into light, not actually leaving the body, but turning the physical body into light. That's another possibility that, from my understanding. So there's many ways out.
Yeah.
We will all choose how we're going to go by the things we do every day.
It is such a mystery.
Yeah, it is. It is. So,
How is John doing? I was wondering, how is John in England doing? He's a newbie.
you know, everybody needs to be themselves. You know, don't need to follow me. Don't need to follow. We just have a roadmap, and here,
True.
Make it work for yourself. If you're gonna be, oh, I want to be like this person because they don't eat. I don't want to be. I want to be like this person. Just be yourself. You know what I mean? Like we have so many beautiful different experiences from people master fast in many limitless different ways, and it's all wonderful. It's all amazing. You know, let's just think about somebody coming from a sad diet and they're fasting 1 day a week now. How amazing is that?
That's huge.
That's huge. That's massive. You know, for that person. Like I was just thinking when I go back in my memory 30 years ago when I came from, you know, diet of anything and everything, and I used to eat a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
And then I got introduced to fasting, right, and fruit diet. And I went, and that was a huge shock on my body because of the way I did it. Didn't have any understanding of how to, you know, clean out properly and so on and so forth, and energies and so on. But here I am 30 years later, 31 almost. It's actually, it's this month, 31 years, June. So yeah, you know, I knew when I read that Arnold Ehret's book, I knew this is a lifestyle. I knew. I just, it rang true to my heart, and I never let it go. You know, I put it on the back burner a little more than usual sometimes, but it was always there. I didn't let it go. So that's the key. I wouldn't, you know, nobody's going to last 30 plus years not believing in something. Even though I got myself in trouble a few times, big trouble, I'm still here because the understanding was there. I didn't let the fear take over, even though I almost killed myself, right? Because most people, they go into fasting. I've seen this so many times. They get into a major healing reaction, bang, they get scared. They don't never fast again.
I was such a believer in 1999. I actually opened up a raw food restaurant in Winnipeg in the middle of the winter.
Wow.
I know. I read Arnold Ehret book, and I said, I'm never going to go back to cooked food. I started fasting regularly. I've been at it since then. And, you know, there were 2-3 years of really good, strong, raw. And absolutely no fat, fruit, and never skinny somehow, but keep falling off. As you say all the time, Gino, the environment dictates outcome. I have such lovely people who eat and love eating.
Yeah, it's going to have influence on us for sure. It's okay.
So I guess my work is to work on my environment, but how?
Yeah. Make some changes there and see what happens. But all is well. Don't let anything put you down. You've been at this for a while, like myself. So there's just as long as we put effort every single day, we're moving in the correct direction, and things will change when we're ready. Emotion is seed. Have you had any major experiences, traumas in your life or anything?
Losing parents, I guess.
Losing your parents when you were young?
No. They are both very sick, cancer and heart disease. But it wasn't very traumatic. I mean, they have to go. Have to go, as you said. No, I've been so lucky. I even won the lottery. I won $1 million. I go up and down. Like, I'm poor. Like, I don't have anywhere to sleep for a while. I sleep at friends' places, and then I have a luxurious home. It's funny, life just goes up and down, up and down.
You won the lottery? Is that what you said?
Yeah, $1 million. But that was like 30 years ago, right? So.
Interesting.
Yeah, and traveled the U.S., worked under the table a bit. Lots of fun. Like, life is very interesting, but this is just really hanging on to me. It's almost the harder I try, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Nah, but if you surrender, Steve, then you just keep eating.
Surrender to the process.
Surrender to what?
Surrender to the process.
Well,
surrender
to the protocol. Surrender to the protocol. That's the process.
Yeah.
Easy to say.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys.
That's the key.
Yeah.
I had to surrender to the process of sobriety. I never would have made it.
Right. How did you do that? I
just surrendered. I knew. I don't know how. I can't articulate it. It's almost impossible. I've asked myself that many times. I don't know how to surrender. I can't tell you how to surrender. But I have to that process.
And you guys have no idea how many times a day I curse Gino and I praise Gino. Like, it's unbelievable of these feelings like, oh man, I can't do this anymore. I hate that guy. And then the next moment, man, he does make sense. He's, he's pretty cool. Yeah. And I share with friends, of course, but it's interesting how it goes up and down. And I keep coming back.
A lot of it's the programming because we don't take it as life and death.
Maybe because I'm such a absolute.
It was easier with the drugs and alcohol because it was literally life and death at any point. With the food, people live full lives and eat like crap, and they live till they're 90 and 95.
Yeah. It ain't the food. It's something in the fields and the environment that keeps them going.
Yeah.
Plus, the old generation they were brought up in a much cleaner environment.
Oh, without a doubt.
Stronger genes and so on and so forth.
Even the food was genetically more pure.
Oh yeah, big time. Way less chemicals. So they had a big advantage. Like, all the new generations are getting weaker and weaker as we see.
At the genetic level.
Sad. Pre-lad Janny was his name, died on May 26th, 2020, 90 years old. Hence Peter, thanks. That was the breatharian. No water, no food. Over 70 years, I think, 75 years or something. Long time.
Veronica, one thing when I was thinking about when Steve says surrender, one of the things that it makes me think about is, for me, I mean, it's never easy getting to sleep, especially if I, like what you said, not eating for a day. And I can start a dry fast. Like I can start a dry fast, let's say like at nighttime, go the full day until the next night. And that's when the real problem begins, where I start to get into my mind and I'm like, well, I just need one meal and then I can sleep. And it's true. And sometimes I do give in and I eat that meal. But when I think about what surrendering is, it's like, I just accept that I'm not going to sleep maybe. And then it's okay. And then I just accept, well, tonight, maybe I don't sleep. And even tomorrow, maybe I don't sleep. But just surrender to that. And just letting that happen, let that process take its course, and not even just sleep. It's like the hunger pangs or just the emotion, the swings, and or like just being able to face somebody and telling them I'm not going to eat, and going through the whole process of explaining that. And it's just like, you know, getting used to that feeling of being uncomfortable and not knowing what's going to happen as a result of that, and just letting that just kind of ride out. So that's, I mean, that's what I think about when I think about surrendering, because that's a challenge.
Thank you, Benjamin. Yeah.
I just tell people I don't feel well. I totally, you know, circumvent having to explain it. Just like, you know, really casually, oh, sorry, I don't feel well.
Well, you can't tell it at work, right?
Huh?
You cannot tell it at work.
Well, then you just, yeah, I mean, you can say it in a way that like doesn't concern people. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, it shows. I'll tell you, it shows.
We don't need to explain.
I walked into the yoga studio and out the drive this week, and she's like, "You're blissed out." I'm like, whatever. But see, now I'm sitting here thinking, because my body, I just started the yoga 3 months ago, and especially in my hamstrings, they're so freaking tight. I cannot put my heels down. Yet, as I'm listening to her, to release it and then surrender into the pose, instead of trying to force it, I can get in a little farther. It's the same thing. You cannot force master fast whatsoever, period. There's no freaking way you can force it. You'll lose. Every single time you lose the battle. Just, I don't know. I don't know how to articulate the surrender.
Well, I give you, surrendering it's the art of letting go. Let go of it.
Yeah.
So I sit there and I said,
but again, how do you
let go of it
and go to really get it across?
But you see, letting go, I'll give you a little, because I do transcendental meditation. So you go off the conscious of nothingness. Mm-hmm. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. All right? And that's letting go. Because then what happens is when you're in nothingness, when your conscious goes down to in a nothing field, in a nothing real, thoughts pop in and you let that happen. Yeah. But you go through the circle of then it comes in, you surrender to it, and then you let it go, and then they move. Go on. So it's that process, the cycle. Don't let it not happen. You know, because if you start I don't let that thought come in, you're not in nothingness. You know when you transcend into nothingness, when you're in, and then it pops in, and let it pop in and let it come right through. It's a noise from outside. It's when something happens because you let it come in, then you either use a mantra or you just have the technique, just let it go. And that nothingness, that letting go is something that even like when I wake up in the middle of the night and I start to spin my mind, let it go. Let it go. And then I go into that realm of just not, again, going to nothingness and deliberately, not deliberately, but just feel-wise, just let it surrender to, let it go. And then, I mean, I have to say, like, as the last few years, I just fall asleep again and that's it. It's the end of the road. You know what I mean? Like, so it does work, but it, as I said, you have to, things, yeah, I mean, you got to work on it. You see, like, remember, everything is repetition. Everything is, once you do something repetitively and you have succeed with it, you then know that you can rely on it and you know that it helps you and you do it. Yeah, I find that very, and that's where remember my little bridge, that thought, emotion, word, action, habit. I got to turn it into a habit. Then it changes. I can think about it. I can talk about it. I can do it. But if I don't make it a habit, that's when it becomes tricky. And same when John said, you know, like, I just don't feel well. I tell people, look, it's not my day today. It's just not my day, you know. So it's just all it is. That means it doesn't mean that you're unwell or anything, which is not my day, you know, like to basically get off me back, you know. So simple as that, you know. That always works for me. When it's not my day, you know. So because they come to me and they say they want to talk to me, I said, look, it's your chances to talk to me today are not very good, you know, and tomorrow doesn't look any better either, you know. But so it's not my day, so it's just bugger off, you know. Simple as that.
Nice way to say it.
Yeah, nice way to say it, you know. Or, you know, even when I have customers and I don't want to, I really had enough of them. I say, look, would you like to take your business somewhere else? It's a nice way of saying basically bugger off, you know. Take it somewhere else. I don't care. Simple. But as I said, Aranka, it's just that surrender. It's just really letting go. Because for me, all the stuff, when it comes to surrender, it's fields. We're talking about fields again, it's energies that occupy. They're in you. How can you let go of energy? Burn it. Burn the energy off. That's one way. But in real terms, it's just let the energy go out. You know, don't let it occupy you. Don't let it be within. Yeah. Look, easier said than done. Hey, it's the continuous practice. But I think also the consciousness of then knowing that I'm doing it and knowing that, and when you succeed, it's a lot of times hard to remember that I actually succeeded because you fall asleep, like in your case, Ben, you know, because then you actually succeeded and you're going back to sleep. But if it's something else that you, as I said, when you're in a dry and you just, or the food, you know, food habit, that you don't go onto the fridge and all that. The easiest way is just to sit down and come to your own conclusion and find an own cycle that you can go through, that you're not doing it. Yeah, like help yourself in that way. And once you can do it in other parts of your life, it's then just a matter of, because the principle is the same of surrender. Doesn't matter what you, on the where and how, on what you surrender to. The principle is the same. It's just then finding the cycle of surrender to be able to move into that, and then, whoa, it's all gone. And then keep doing it, you know. I know it's not easy, but that's the principle. That's how I see. And then if you fall off it, then, well, so be. I mean, that's another thing too, you know, like surrender to falling off. Just do it. Who cares?
Ranka, what do you have any hobbies you love to do?
I have tons of them, but I'm too busy watching YouTube videos about how to go vegetarian.
Okay.
Or or I work quite a bit.
Yeah, well, you know, once you more knowledge is not going to help us. We've gone down those roads.
Yeah.
It's we gotta connect to soul. All the knowledge is that we will level. You can never find will be there. It's all knowledge of all creation is within the soul. Looking outwards, we're gonna fall into that trap of spiraling out to more and more confusion. Just like
I'm one of those, Gino. I remember you're saying it almost every Zoom call. I'm one of those loopy ones, just coming, going around. Green juices, fruit. Green juices, fruit.
Green juices?
And then fruit. So I would go through a week of just green juices. It's okay, I'm never going to touch fruit or again. And then the next week, I'm fruit. I'm one of those loopy ones, but I'll change. Like there's lots of time to change. What has been the study is the animal, deep animals since 2000.
People are going to do what they're going to do. It doesn't matter what we say. You know, just like the Master Fast guidelines that we put in place are there for a reason, because this is the realm of MFS, and we've seen a few souls coming through with agendas who take from Master Fast for their own purposes, and it is what it is. People are going to do what they're going to do. Correct conduct is not the norm.
No. Anywhere.
So you know what we're doing here. We're trying to be in that place of peace, balance, correct conduct. Yeah. We're all programmed we're all programmed to shift out of that. We're not programmed for peace, balance, correct conduct. We're warmongers, we're thieves, we're liars, we're cheats. That's the way we've been brought up. So we have to surrender to the peace, balance, correct conduct of divine order. And we know that we're going to fall off because of our programming. So what do? We got to steer ourselves back in that direction, right? Just like, we don't ever want to see people promoting drinking pasteurized juices out there. When I hear people promoting drinking pasteurized juice that are not doing Master Fast, I get a cringe feeling in my body. And I see like, wow, man, oh man, okay, another one, and another one, and another one.
Yep.
So, people are going to do what they're going to do. We can't stop people doing what they're going to do. But when you come into the realm of MFS, you're exposed to knowledge that wasn't available anywhere. There's knowledge in the Master Fast that was available in bits and pieces here and there, but the Master Fasting system and the way we understand with this new understanding of the fields and so on and so forth is came through, is new, it's unique, and it's powerful. And we keep it small, we keep it closed for a reason, because out there, it's very, very challenging to be in peace, balance, correct conduct. Very challenging. We'll be pulled here and there and there and there. This is why, all these things are happening, Ranka. You're being drawn from all these different things. Instead of just surrendering to soul, Master Fast is a roadmap for us to be able to gain that access to the soul in autopilot. That's the only way I understand it, and I can explain it. It's that simple. Clear out the plasma vacuum tube prudently, safely, and watch what happens. And it happens every single time. Never failed anybody. So, nobody's perfect. Releasing, completely letting go of the food concept. Yeah, it would be a whole sense of different freedom. But if we're choosing to eat, if we just can change our state to use food to as something to do for fun versus something as a necessity, and ingrain that within us, you will see that you will go along one day and you're thinking that you want to eat, and then all of a sudden you say, I don't need to eat, and you move along. And that'll happen more and more and more, because you like the feeling of being on fields versus the matter state,
Yeah.
And it just happens automatically. There's when I look back in all these 30 years, there's phases where there's years I've done way more fasting, there's years I've done less fasting. So it's just phases and times of our life, the environments that are affecting us. Like I said, I've shared many times in these last 3 years almost now. I've been taking care of my mom. Man, oh man, what an emotional roller coaster ride this is. I never expected to be able to have to go through this, but it's something that I have to go through. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. You'll hear me complain and stuff, but it's an honor doing it. But yeah, it's a challenge. It's a big challenge, a massive challenge, dealing with someone who is losing the mind, going into the stages of dementia, and
no interest really.
No interest.
Even when she had her mind, she was not interested.
Just gave up. Energy's going down month by month. It's a big challenge dealing with somebody like that, day in and day out. Being very, very difficult with all the caregivers and so on and so forth. It's not easy. That's why what we see in today's society, what do the people do with parents that they can't put them in an old age home? And we hear the horror stories day in after day of what's going on in these old age homes. Nobody needs to be in an old age home.
Yeah, you have to remember too, today old people are living on drugs and they are extremely difficult, some of them. Huh? And what these people, caregivers, have to go through is crazy. I mean, you can just imagine. You see your mom, but imagine many people in one place. What are the caregivers going to do? They're going to be tough. And unfortunately, this means
just walking into an old age home, nursing home, whatever you call them over here, they're called long-term care. Just walking in there, the energy is it's very thick and heavy. Everybody's all drugged up.
When I was a kid.
Oh wow! No, they don't want to deal. They drug them up to sedate them, right? And they're all constipated. You can smell the stench in these places.
So what I'm saying is, we have to feel also for the caregivers. What I understand, their job is tougher than the older people's, job in the old age homes. So, so we have to feel for them too. I mean, it is not an easy job. I mean, just imagine you see only your mother, but imagine you have 20 people in one building like that, all of them kicking their caregivers out because they don't feel good or they don't get along or whatever.
Traditionally, in the Aboriginals and in a lot of the Europeans and stuff, the family took care of the parents.
Yes, but you have to remember also, traditionally, very important to remember, we lived together.
Yeah.
So we were used to living together. You don't just live together when you're older and like not you don't care about yourself. You really gave up. Sometimes some people give up after their partner dies, or they just don't care, and they didn't care before about their lifestyle. So to care now, it's a big challenge.
The elders were cherished in the old traditions.
Yes, but they were always together with the family. They were not very independent all the time. Like they were always like a small community kind of thing. And you don't see that here. Where I grew up, it was my grandfather's building, and my grandfather was in the top apartment, and everybody else was under. And we went to see him very regularly. Now, if he lived in a different building, we wouldn't see him as much, So you develop a relationship with them. I love my grandparents. I love them all, the ones that I lived with in the building and my mother's parents too. They were so sweet and nice and giving and loving, and that's all I remember really. I don't remember anything bad. I feel here it's different. It's different. I don't know. It depends.
It's
Yes.
it's sad watching, you know, these people in old age homes. You know, it's. I remember one caregiver was talking about. She was in school and she went to an old age home. There was this lady there, and she was always talking about her 5 children, always, and they rarely ever visited her. You know, stories like that. It breaks your heart. Breaks your heart. Just waiting for the inheritance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, but this is the society we created, right? We're all part of this.
This is, I think, what happens when we separate. We're not living together with our grandparents, so we're thinking that, you know, if they're far away from you and all the relationship is only money, you know, what are you gonna think about? You're gonna think about money. There's nothing else, you know. But if we live together, then there is so much relationship. There's so much happening. There's lots of energy. There is love. There is caring. There is wisdom shared, you know.
The fast-paced, instant gratification society has no room for taking care of their parents.
It's after the industrialization, I would say. After maybe the Second World War, things started changing. Women started working outside, and it came all about money.
It's a lot of work.
And
constantly,
yeah.
It's on your mind. What's going on? Constantly. It's always things happening. Running here, running there. Appointments. Not regular doctors. Very few of those. Osteopath, chiropractor, dentist. It's interesting, that's for sure. It's quite an experience.
Yeah, it's not an easy job to handle all that, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it can be done, you know, when, you know, you're the only one who's doing it. How else would it be done? You know, I guess nursing home is like the other option, you know. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, well, somebody, you know, they have to work and so on and so forth. There's no other option, but
I mean, you're working.
I would love to see nursing home being the place where they are going to be in a beautiful place with
like a community,
lots of plants, birds singing,
and friends, you know, people, you know, with each other, community, caring for each other.
Good food. A colon therapist for sure. And so on, you know what I mean? You can make their last few years, you know, we can extend them and make it wonderful. But, you know, society doesn't want that. Society wants us eating fast foods, getting vaccinations, being on drugs.
You know, I see
being on alcohol and everything else.
I wanted to mention something, and I'll come back to that, I guess, if I remember. But I wanted to mention that because I was listening earlier, that freedom is the reason I did choose to do a liquidarian lifestyle maybe 3 years ago. And I did my longest, I actually chose twice, right? And I did my longest master fast on, I think on these, or at least one of them was 117 days. I wanted to be liquidarian on that. But at the end, I kind of changed my mind. I was like, I was cooking for family sometimes. I was like, oh, it would be nice to taste the food and enjoy with them once in a while. I'm not gonna get addicted tasting that, you know. But then, of course, when you eat it, does bring the cravings back. So it's easy to fall off. But I did want it because of the freedom. And when I started from a place that is not necessarily very loving, you know, like I overate, I felt like crap, and I said, that's it, I don't want to eat anymore. So it's not the most peaceful way to start, right? We don't want to hate food. We still love food. There is beauty in everything that God gives us. So let's enjoy it. If you want to enjoy it socially or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all good. So what I wanted to say is that, yes, totally, I chose it because of the freedom. but we cannot force freedom. We just, that doesn't work. We cannot force it. It happens. That's what Steve was saying, surrendering. You surrender and things happen. It happens. You just, you know, you cannot force it. It's that simple. You cannot use your mind. You cannot use your mind to justify doing it. You know?
Rana,
It's a very
Rana.
spiritual experience. And religion.
I love your words. Yes, yes. I love your words, Rana. I totally agree. But I think if you have no discipline, you're just going to go downhill into complete bulimia.
Yeah, of course, listen.
It takes work.
Without discipline, how can you achieve anything in life? Come on, guys. We're not young.
Yeah.
We have to have discipline in anything in this life. If we want to achieve something, we have to be disciplined.
The new generation, they're not brought up with discipline. They want everything handed. They don't want to work. They don't want to do anything.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Anybody who has businesses now has challenges finding good workers. Very challenged. Why? The whole mentality.
We cannot change them.
No,
it's
we
too
can't
late.
change them.
The only thing we can do is be the change we want to see. Because even us, I can be more disciplined.
A few people that, you know, I hired, my goodness gracious, how do they pay you this money? You don't know what you're doing. Like, get the hell out of here. I'm doing myself.
And they charge a lot of money.
It's like unreal. What's going on out there?
I guess I have to find the balance between discipline and surrender.
Yeah, discipline is lacking big time in our modern society. Big time.
You see, I have to say something, you know. One thing I loved, you know, some people say negative things about religion. I love what I learned in Islam, okay? There are different religions, but Islam, for example, because I grew up practicing, it teaches you discipline. That's all what it is. And you do it from a spiritual place, not your mind. Your mind will not do it. Okay, we can sit down and calculate and do this and do that and write it down. It's deeper than that, right? You cannot use your mind to do it. And if you ask I have met Christians who are very, very in love with their practices and such great people, their values. And that's what matters in any religion, the values. The values, what values do you believe in? You know, if you have good values, why would I not like you? Just because you're not Muslim, you're a Christian? No, there are some beautiful Christians, there are some beautiful Muslims, there are some beautiful Jews, and let's focus on the beauty of these teachings. There's a lot of, you know, there is a lot of beauty and discipline, you know, teaching of discipline, you know, like for example, praying 5 times a day. You know, if you feel like, oh, you know, I don't feel like it, that's not discipline. You do it. You just do it. Fasting, for example, also in religion. I you know, I can say, you know, I don't want to do it, but that's it's a sin. You see, it's spiritual, not something that you should think of as a punishment, you know, but it's a spiritual kind of, you know, and this way I can easily start fasting, easily. I don't have to justify, oh, today is not a good day, or tomorrow, or now is the new moon, or whatever, you know. I just do it because this is the agreement, you know. There's kind of an agreement. I fast on this day, and it's a spiritual and I see Christians as well. I have met Christians who fasted and they just love it, and they do, I think, dry. I met some Christians who do 3-day dry, and they just love it. That, like, they speak about it so beautifully. It feels like, I love this. I can talk with them about God forever. You know, some clients, I remember a few of them came, Christians, believers, so much faith, their values are so beautiful. Nobody's perfect. Hey, I'm not perfect, but my religion does teach me discipline, and does teach me goodness, and to clean my heart if I'm not always, you know, doing my best. So it teaches me to clean my heart if I have any negativity in me, you know. And it's very important. This is really important, and I love my home to be like that. I love my friends to be like that, you know, like not only me, slowly everybody, you know. It would be nice to have these beautiful values, not to talk about each other behind our backs. I don't like that. My goodness, the gossip out there, it's just too much, you know. I never liked it. I never liked it, and I don't need it. Maybe with my husband I can say something that bothers me, and I hope that my husband would tell me, Rana, this is not godly. Rana, this is godly. Because sometimes I'm emotional. I'm not on the right path. And I love for my husband to tell me, you know, sometimes I am bothered by something and I'm sensitive, and I will tell him about it. So these are the friends we want to surround ourselves by, you know, to encourage each other, to come closer to God, have better values. I don't know, you know, and discipline for sure. I mean, there's no joke here.
So what you're saying, Rana, is that my solution, or everybody's perhaps solution, would be, and I like it very much, is surrender to pick a religion or a guiding system.
No.
Pick one, and then just surrender to it.
No, that's not what she said. It's not what she said at all.
No, that's where she gets the source from, the energy from her prayer of having to pray.
First and foremost is a spiritual path. Has nothing to do with religion.
The religion are just different roadmaps. Let's put it that way. People want to choose and go down.
Yeah.
Some people choose religion. Some people you choose.
I grew up with Karl Marx and Engels and Lenin, so I have no religion. But Buddhism is really very interesting. And, I started meditating Vipassana, and it's really nice. So I think it's gonna help me.
You know, I feel when we're connected to God, we can follow anything we want, you know. It's much easier to be disciplined with a protocol, for example, like a master fast, and make it work for you, you know. Through Islam or through Christianity or through Judaism or anything, Buddhism or anything, right? You can make things work for you, because what they teach you is discipline, and discipline to stay with the protocol and to appreciate it, and you know, all the good things, you know, because there's a lot of work behind it, so much, you know, experience behind it that is being freely pretty much shared, you know, like for the most part, you know, we have lots of support for free and videos and you know, so yeah.
Hey, can I just ask, this is not about religion. I just want to ask like a nuts and bolt question, nuts and bolts. But if you wake up and you have a plasma in the morning, right? And you have 8 or 10 ounces, you use 8 or 10 ounces of grape juice in the plasma.
Plasma pudding.
And then, huh?
Plasma pudding.
Yeah. And then you like decide that you just want to go dry for the rest of the day. Is that a bad call? So you don't finish with, you know, drinking 2 to 3 quarts.
Have you done it?
Huh?
Have you done that?
No, because I have a sense that like you need more fluid to like, if the mass of plasma pudding is like this, you need more fluid to get it through you. So if I don't drink 2 to 3 quarts of juice in a day, I I just do a lot of juicy fruit and maybe some green tea or something like that. But no, but I was asking just theoretically.
Well,
If
I can answer because I've done it, right? I've done it many times. Start the routine, then decide to go into my dry.
Yeah.
My TNT, have my plasma pudding with even less liquid than what you're saying, and then go into my dry. It's if you're in an obstructive state, it won't be a good experience.
Yeah.
You know, because that plasma pudding, as it's going through, it's absorbing, right?
Yeah.
And if you see when it comes out, it's kind of like slimy because it's absorbing all that mucus layers and crap that's within our GI tract. So it moves through, but if you're all plugged up big time, it's not going to be pleasant. That's why we have the protocol on how to start a dry fast, right? Clean yourself out, enemas, and then do your bubbly.
Yes.
Get the system ready to be in that dry state. So washing is the most important one. We want to empty out the bowels as best we can and then go into the dry fasting state. That's for anything that's 24 hours and longer. You know, the daily 12 hours, no big deal because we're doing that every day. You should be used to that very quickly. You know, within a few weeks, most people get used to the 12-hour, 13-hour daily dries. No big deal. But
yeah, because like before I started coming here, you know, I did see a few years ago, I saw a bunch of your videos, and I wasn't certain, but I thought you were talking about how, you know, you actually just have very little liquid with the plasma and then that's stronger. But what you're saying is you have to be up to that. You have to be up to that.
I wouldn't recommend people doing it that way, no.
No.
You know, if you're starting out, just follow the protocol. If you're going to be going in, you know, you're going to be going into a dry fast, you can still do the pudding, just do a smaller amount, very small amount, maybe a teaspoon or two, because it'll help absorb. And then when you break the dry, it'll flush out. Don't do the full dose, you know, the 3-4 tablespoons. No big deal. Just be prudent in all things.
Yeah.
You know, systematically, we know how the body functions through these fasting cycles of wet and dry. We know how to assist it. We know how to support it. And it works. You know, you want to try going off in different things. I've experimented.
No,
I'm just saying I've experimented. That's why we have this protocol. In all these years, I've done a lot of things. Like just the combination of what's in that pudding. I've experimented with many different ratios, you know, way too much clay, almost cementing myself in, right? So there's years of developing these things that I've been using. The bubbly, I was drinking that before I knew about dry fasting. It works great for starting and ending a dry fast.
Yeah, because I just didn't know if I got it right. Like we don't have to belabor it, but I thought I heard something, and then, you know, a year or two goes by, and then I couldn't quite recall precisely what you had said or what the context was.
Yeah, well, you know, if you go back in all the videos we've done, you will see a very strong common thread. We're still talking the same common thread. We've learned a lot in these 5 years, and we've made a few adjustments, but the common thread and the principle of what MFS is, about the fields, about obstructions, et cetera, nothing's changed, because that basic principle, it runs true. You know, so you're not going to see us swaying much from that unless we come with a new revelation.
Yeah. So put differently, if you do take the plasma pudding and you take a full portion of it, you should definitely do all of the grape juice, 2 to 3 quarts.
John, if it's a 24-hour dry, it's not a big deal really, right? It's more for when you start doing the, 3 days and up. This is where I'd be concerned. For 12 hours and 24 for somebody who's been doing fasting and dry fasting, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
But like when I'm talking, so you're more clear, especially specifically for the longer ones, like 3 days and expanding.
Okay. Yeah. Well taken. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just
24 hours. There's fad dieters doing 24-hour dry fast.
Yeah. That's the thing, because like if you're in pretty good shape, sometimes you can't feel all the subtleties of what's going on, Yeah.
Is it prudent doing dry fast eating the sad diet? I don't know. I guess any type of fasting is good, but I don't know. There comes to a point where you're
like,
fasting
why would you do that? Yeah.
a certain amount and you're eating all that stuff. It's going to be detrimental, actually.
Yeah.
Because of how the body functions through fasting cycles. So I don't know where that cutoff is to how much fasting you can do eating that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine the kidneys would be suffering.
Yeah. It's the more fasting you do, the more your senses are going to wake up, unless you're completely plugging yourself day in and day out. And then I don't even know how people can fast, because when you're eating heavy foods, it's not fun to fast. It's not a good experience. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm doing like every other day. I'm still doing it every other day. Master fast, hybrid.
Awesome.
And, I can handle it. Like I feel pretty good.
Is everybody on their season change now? The dries?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, like I told you guys I did the 39 and the 40 hour, and then I cut it back. So
Recently?
I did 224 or 25 hours or 27, something like that. And then I did, but now I'm just pretty much doing 15 hours a day dry. So I don't put anything in my stomach until afternoon.
Yeah, you're pushing the dries. I would focus on extra washing, because you're pushing the dries.
Pushing them, you just mean too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
15 hours?
15 hours a day, 13 to 15.
Well, because you've shared some of your health challenges with your eyes and stuff, so the body's obstructed.
Yeah.
Just I would take it easy the daily, 24 religiously, 3 days a month religiously, 5 days every season change religiously. I would go for that.
Oh. Yeah, 24 a 24-hour dry every week.
In those cycles, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do I'm getting ready for a longer one. I'm gonna do like 24 or 36 maybe.
Yeah, we love to use the now's the summer solstice coming up in the northern hemisphere. We love to work with those energies. They're very powerful when you fast in those energies, just like it's powerful when you fast on the full moon cycles.
Yeah.
Anytime you fast is powerful, but when you're aligned with the energies of the universe and this planet, you will feel them. The more you do it, like I said, I don't know why I chose the season changes way back, but it was something that resonated with me to fast on the season change, and I stuck with it for 31 years now.
Yeah, well, it's beautiful, it's a beautiful way to look at it, whether it has additional benefit or not. It's just like a beautiful thing,
I'm sure there's something that will help you with the energies because of the changes that are happening with the earth. I'm sure. I have no doubt. I've been doing it long enough. Fast on these times and fast in different times, and you will see.
Yeah, like the environment changes around us, so you can imagine our body.
It helps to shift through the cycles. I don't know where you live, but when we go into our winters, the first weeks or month, it takes a while for the body to get used to the cold again. It's just a different, a different feeling. You fast and you, no problem. No problem. It moves through it easier. So
Yeah.
I believe that.
So there's these energies will assist you to move through these changes, through the season changes.
Yeah, when's the solstice now? That's next week?
Today.
Tomorrow. It starts today, but the full day is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Is also a new moon, so new beginning. Right? First day of the summer and also new moon. Right? Is it usually the first day of the summer is usually a new moon? No.
New moon?
But it happened to be
big
the
day.
same.
New moon today.
Tomorrow.
What's happening in the south? When's your solstice, Sans?
We've got it this 21st here now, but I thought new moon was on the 28th, wasn't it?
Yeah, yours is different, right? Because different seasons.
I thought you guys had different season changes, different days.
Yeah.
See, we change seasons here on the 1st. I think that's more politically than anything else.
Oh, really? It's not the.
Really, yeah?
Nah, because it's always the first is the start of 1st of June, start of winter, 1st of September, start of spring.
Oh, they really control things down there,
huh? The Australians know everything better, and the New Zealanders, they top us in any case, you know what I mean? So, but now it's just, although I have to say, growing up in Europe, where everything was on the 21st, it is actually, and you're right with the physicality of it. You feel every season change. I have to say, I feel adapting, and it is more on the 1st. It happens around the 1st here. I have to say, because I suffered many years with back pain coming through the 90s into the 2000s, many years, and every time a season change, I had a spastic attack. Either was it a prolapsed large colon? I don't know. I did a lot of x-rays at one stage, which I regret, but I did. And there were spurs on the back of the spine, and they were decent, but it always came through every season change. In particular, from winter into spring, or from summer into fall, So that was really something that I very, very could feel a lot. Since I fasted and since now, things have eased, have leveled out a hell of a lot. I still feel the season change because you have to adapt, because you're physical, the temperature change, and so on and so on. But it's a lot of times here, the first really is the season change, is a temperature change. 1st of September, always a good day, always a nice, sunny, bright day. And same with 1st of June, cold, bang. So, I don't know, it's different compared to Europe.
To give you another example, if you've flown in going to different time zones, and if you've flown regularly, and then if you've flown dry fasting state, 9-day difference.
Yeah.
You fly regularly in jet lag, fly in a dry fasting state, no problem. There's no jet lag. There's no having to adjust for the different time zone or anything. It's quick.
It's nice.
It's completely different experience.
Definitely the best.
I can back that up because, see, through the 90s, I flew several times Europe back, and I was with the national teams, doing coaching national teams. So we were flying forwards and backwards, and man, oh man, and the lifestyle was very sad, and you basically get toppled over from pillar to post, the time changes meant I suffered so much on the jet lagging this and jet lagging that. Going into the 2000s and starting towards the end of the 2000s, my health journey, it just completely changed. So, you don't feel the jet lag. There's no such thing. You just basically, it's just, as long as you stick, the only thing that you need, what I do is stick to the sleep pattern. So if I arrive there in the morning, I don't go to bed, I don't sleep, you know what I mean? That I stick very much to it. If I arrive, then I go to sleep, you know what I mean? Like, so you adapt straight away to that. And I'm not getting drawn into do your naps and you know, all of a sudden 5 or 6 hours you sleep and then things go exactly away. But so that's the only thing that I do. But as I said, and I do find, funny enough, that flying coming against the time, I find personally easier than flying with the time. But that's just, I think that's a personal thing, more than anything else. But I find that more noticeable than going flying. That it's sort of the adjusting, because I mean it still takes you a few days. In particular, when you go from cold into hot, it takes quite a bit to adjust. You know, like, because even if I fly a lot into China, and when you know, like, because that's north and south hemisphere. So in the northern hemisphere, you fly into the winter. That's actually quite okay, but going into the hot from cold, that makes a difference, you know what I mean? Like in the peak season. But again, it's minimal. I find it minimal, and in particular, the last 3 years, man, it's easy, nothing. Because you see, you can, like, you go on a plane and everybody's looking for food, and you think, no, I don't have to have this food, and I don't have to. You just basically fly, you know, and you use that time more for your own relaxation than looking at just eating food, you know what I mean? And even like that, you know, like when all the flight attendants come, oh, don't you want to drink anything? Absolutely no, thank you, no. You can have it. I'll be quite all right with that. So. And but as I said, that's a big advantage, you know. One other thing I like to, we talked about family, and you know, in our society today, and I mean, I'm talking even worldwide, when you look back 100 years ago, the function of a family, how a family actually functioned, then compared to today, 100 years ago, most families had to function for everything in their lives, meaning they had to produce everything, they had to look for everything, they lived together. So every person from born to old had a function to fulfill. But these functions have all been taken away from us, or we have given it away. So producing food, meaning gardening, we don't do that no more, we go buy it at the shops. Manufacturing something or fixing something, we don't do that no more, we just go buy a new one. Looking after the older people, we don't do that no more, we just send them into the retirement village. So the functions have completely changed. And I don't think they have to change for the better, they have changed for the worse. Because we disconnected through that. Functions made us stick together and do things together and combine, and like that puts a bond in between family members. But when we stop doing the functioning as a family, the whole function of a family, the whole living for a family, when we started to separate that and giving it away to other like as I said, shopping, making something, schooling, think about it. How often in old families did the grandparents tell the young kids how things work, how things were done? This function is completely gone. And I don't think it's to the benefit of us, it's to the detriment of us. Just my opinion, because it hasn't seemed to help in any way, form or shape to get any more peace, you know. Even if you had arguments in your family, but hey, you stuck to the family, you lived in the family, and you had your function to fulfill in the family. And that we have completely given away. So that's something that, again, Mr. Mohawk, the future is in the family, in his book.
Does he cover jet lag on jumbo jets? Is that part of the part of the Native American shamanic tradition to be jet lag?
I haven't read it in the book, but maybe somewhere he did cover that. Yeah, but I'm just saying that's funny when you see how it's described and how look, I know back and think about it, it's not like I look 2 generations back and they did that. We had that, you see, and we completely left it. It's funny, you know, like when you see this, and I find there's a disconnect. In particular, to think about what we do here in this family, we want to connect to source. We want to connect to nature. And then you see the dysfunction of families where we don't connect to that. Just another point.
The family is slowly dying off.
Because you remember, I mean, I know my father grew up in the countryside and the whole family lived there. Their parents, the uncle, all of them, they were all in the same house. Nested away here, like a rabbit hole, you know, like sort of just everywhere, you know, but they were all living together. I mean, there was no other way of having it anyway, because you couldn't afford, or it was not there. Of course, we progressed off from that. But that's when, as you can see, that then, and we thought it was a progress, and it is a progress, no doubt. Everything is a progress. If it's negative or positive, it's progress. Let's go, let's go, let's go. But once you then, in hindsight, look back and think, wasn't that bad after all? Actually, it was pretty good, actually, when you look back to it, and how then the younger ones or the middle-aged ones had took care of their older people. And let me say one thing too, the older people always died easier than what they do today, because they were still connected. And when you connected, you pass on far easier than when you're disconnected, you know, from nature, from source, from family, from love. Because what is it? What is family? It's giving love to each other. Even if you can scream and yell at each other, but it's still love. It's still love in between. And when you disconnect old people from that, it's hard. Makes it hard. Just my opinion.
The family that's jet lagged together stays together.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, they play together.
That's my motto.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be something, you know, where families sit down, eat together. That's rarely happens these days, right? We growing up, we had to be at the dinner table. We had to. It was the law.
Same here. Absolutely.
So hey, this is something that I experienced. You know, I grew up in a extremely unhappy family, and so my parents, they would communicate to each other through our dogs. So you know, we had one dog named Sydney. She was a big basset hound, and so my mom would say, "Sydney, would you please ask somebody to pass the butter?" And then, you know, my dad would pass the butter. And so, but later on, when I finally got out of there, then I understood that people who suffer from anorexia and other like severe eating disorders, it all went back to the dining room table or the kitchen table, and the dynamic between family at the kitchen table. So what would happen is, a lot of times people would come in and sit down to dinner because that's what they had to do on time, and they would sit down and they would eat as quickly as possible and shovel down the food, you know, and then emotionally they were just a wreck. So they would leave the table as soon as possible, so they wouldn't have to witness the bad behavior from the rest of the people at the table. And then, you know, over time, it seems like those are the types of people who developed eating disorders. And so, you know, part of the reason I'm here probably is because of that scenario. You know, like I've just had eating disorders my whole life. I knew it pretty young, like in my 20s, I was like, wow, you know, like I used to go to Thailand and just like eat at like 5 or 6 restaurants in a row, and then like eat on the street. and then have a midnight snack, before I went to bed. So like I have eating disorders. So anyway, I just thought I would throw that out there. It's just like having a civil conversation at the dinner table. That's something that I never had until I was fully, on my own, autonomous adult.
I think all eating is a disorder, but anyway, growing up, we had to be at the dinner table, and every time, whatever was on the plate, we had to finish.
Oh man,
there's poor people suffering. So that's what I grew up, and I cleaned up everybody's leftovers.
Yeah.
So
you were the garbage can.
Yeah. And I used to eat really. People think I eat fast now. Before I was way faster. I've slowed down.
But did you grow up in a happy home?
My parents, they stuck it together all until my dad passed. They had arguments all the time, but they stuck it out. And if you ask different brothers and sisters of the family, we're going to have different answers from everybody. For me, it was a good, I had a good growing up time, and we all have challenges and so on and so forth, but that's all part of family life. You embrace it all the arguments, all the emotions, everything. You embrace it all, and it's it. It's all part of it. It's some people have really tough times growing up in their childhood. We've heard so many horror stories, right? That shouldn't be. Did I get beat up? Yeah, I got beat up from my dad a few times, and then when you that's the way it was back then. It straightened you out. You didn't do it again. When you did wrong, you got punished, and we can do that now. You get put in jail. So the whole values of everything's changed. But it brought us up with certain strong values and morals of what's correct and what's not. And
but it wasn't a gratuitous beating, like you did something wrong and you got smacked, right? It wasn't like he beat you up.
No. Not abusive just for the hell of it. No, like it's a lot of people, especially with alcohol, they get aggressive. And they beat up their partners and so on and so forth. It's huge in the police force. That happens. They beat up their spouses. They condone drinking. They support drinking. They have a police station they built down here. They have a bar in there for the police academy. It's incredible. But hey, it's a whole other story. What time are we at? With 2.5 hours, I think. If anybody has anything else, or we go into a meditation for the solstice. And we have here Ali and Michael and Barbara. Ali and Michael, I guess your first time here, I believe, or have you been here before? If you want to introduce yourselves.
They're muted.
Yeah. Nice to see everybody here. We love you guys joining in. It keeps me going, keeps me motivated, just like it does for you to, be together. This is what it's all about. It's much nicer being able to talk to people about this. For all these years, people thought I was cuckoo about fasting all the time. It was very rare to find somebody interested in fasting for many, 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 many years. Many years. It's just, I just stopped talking mostly about it unless somebody brought it up. So it's really nice to have people, that are in love with the fasting lifestyle. Particularly, we're doing massive fasting, but having some sort of fasting in your lifestyle is awesome. Whether somebody's doing intermittent or whatever, as long as you're not keeping that stomach full, man, 24 hours a day, right? That's detrimental. That we know without doubt. We need that stomach to have rest, digestive rest. And the more we rest it, the more we'll thrive. It's that simple. The art of subtraction. You can't get it any more simple than that. So, all right. Is there any topics anybody wants to talk about, maybe specifically next week or something? Or I know we were all over the place, but whatever comes up, if we want to put more focus on something, we can do that.
I'm interested in. Sorry, did somebody say something?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm interested in, like, you know, like the synchronicities of when you know, like in the Buddhist world, you meditate a lot, and then you have these wonderful synchronicities, and then in the fasting world, and Ali Tom was talking about a little bit, and then somebody brought up, like, they were in the desert, they were dry fasting, and suddenly there was a flash flood that came out of nowhere, and like the river overflowed, and there were like fish, like there were fish, you know, like some crazy story like that. And I just caught wind of it. But like, I'm interested in those kinds of things, like where, you know, somebody self-realizing in a really profound way, especially when they suddenly take on, like, a talent suddenly that was suppressed, or that they had only vaguely understood, and then suddenly it manifests. So that kind of thing, kind of like the mystical aspect. I don't know, like, I haven't heard too many stories from you guys about it, just like maybe catch a little bit here and there. So that would be something I'd like to hear about.
Yeah, that's awesome. The mysticism of fasting, synchronicities, and so on and so forth. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can definitely, for sure, through my own experiences, those do expand, and you will come across more and more of that the more you fast. It's you know, like, for example, you're thinking of somebody, and then they phone you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff, you'll see more and more of that awareness be expanded the more you fast. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, little bits and pieces here and there, but that's interesting.
Because just on Thursday, like, I had to take this big behemoth car to get it smogged, right? That it's owned by the university. And so I took it to the smog shop, and I had to wait for it. And I was like, oh, it was this crappy part of town. So I thought, oh, what am I going to do for the next half hour? And so I walked out on the street, and then the first thing that was there was a health food store. I walked in, and I went to buy juice, and there were two things of pretty much my favorite grape juice for a good price. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, I walked for like 1 minute on the sidewalk and stumbled into this store, and there were 2 jars of it left. And I was just like, okay, that's a good thing, man. And I just bought them, you know. But I mean, that's no big deal, but it was just kind of like, it was a big deal because it was just so weird that there was this weird health foods in kind of like a ghetto area. You know, there was this health food store, a really, well, you know, you guys wouldn't like it, but it was a substantial health food store. Anyway, thanks a lot. I'm gonna take off. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, John. Okay, so
take it easy. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
We'll move into our summer solstice. Let's get comfortable for those who want to join us in the meditation. And really special time of the year. longest day of the year for us in the Northern Hemisphere. So now we're moving down towards winter again.
Summer.
Positivity.
Anyway, so let's get comfortable, close our eyes. Let's feel our physical body getting in a relaxed, wonderful state. Eyelids getting heavier and heavier as we focus on the breath. Let's focus in our third eye, picturing the beautiful sunshine. And keep that focus on the sun in our third eye and expand on that. And we thank the beautiful season of summer solstice upon us to bring us warmth in the Northern Hemisphere and the cold in the Southern Hemisphere. And focus on the breath. Keep the tongue either on the roof of the mouth or rolled back and suck on it. Either way you choose. The technique with the tongue rolled back and sucking on it allows the body to hydrate itself. If you continuously practice that in your dry fast, you will see it helps you. And it's a wonderful place. So let's cycle the breath. On the inhale from the tailbone, we drive the energy up the spine to the top of the head. On the exhale, from the top of the head, we go down the front of the body, back down, around the groin, back to the tailbone. And focus on cycling the breath, driving the energy up the spine, on the inhale, down the front on the exhale. And simultaneously, continuously focusing on the beautiful sunshine shining in your third eye. And focus on the breath. We are limitless divine beings, and everything is possible in the limitless realms. Now let's bring our focus to just below the belly button. Focus on a mini tornado with the tip on the point below the belly button. A tornado spinning counterclockwise. Each breath, our body is getting more and more relaxed, and our eyelids are getting heavier and heavier. And the tornado is spinning faster and faster. Bringing peace, balance, and correct conduct in that chakra area. Anything that pops in your mind, drive the thought into the tornado. The tornado will bring it back to balance. The mind drifts away, bring it back. Dump the thought into the tornado. And it will dissipate it. Bring it back to balance. As it's doing to that lower chakra. With each breath, we're more relaxed, getting heavier and heavier, the eyelids. And we start feeling disconnection from the physicality and moving into the limitless realms. We move the tornado focus to the genitals. The male genitals or the female ovaries. And the tornado spinning faster and faster, spinning counterclockwise. As we float away in the limitless realms, we feel the connection to all one creation. We feel the love, the warmth, the generosity, the joy, the bliss, as the tornado is spinning faster and faster. We continuously focus on the breath and keep the tongue in the position we chose. Sun shining beautifully and brilliantly in our third eye. The tornado spinning faster and faster as it brings balance into our male and female energies. And we bring the focus to the area between the anus and genitals, the perineum, I think it's called. Perineum. Something like that. Perineum. The extra skin that's runs up and down. Bring the focus of the mini tornadoes point in that area as it spins faster and faster. The sun shining brilliantly in our third eye lights up the whole being. And the tornado spinning faster and faster, bringing that area to peace, balance, and correct conduct. The presence of divine providence is within us all. When we choose peace, balance, correct conduct, the presence becomes stronger and stronger because we can support all the weaker fields. Plasma love always flowing. It's the strongest field strength. Field strength of creation itself. As we continue focus on the minute tornado. Spinning faster and faster. Sunshine is getting brighter and brighter, lighting up our whole third eye, sending the light beaming across the planet. Bringing the question into humanity's mind. How much longer can we go before we self-destruct if we don't move into peace, balance, correct conduct? There is no other option left for us in this realm of Earth. As we're floating away, looking down on the planet, the beautiful blue planet. And the tornado spinning faster and faster. The sun shining more and more brilliant in our third eye. As we move the focus to the tailbone, the tip of the tailbone, the tip of the tornado to the tip of the tailbone. Spinning faster and faster as it's bringing balance to that area. Sunshine is brilliant more than ever. We're bringing balance to all those in need. Tornado spinning faster and faster with each breath. Continue breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Keep the volume very low. Drive the breath deep into the groin area. These breaths will empower you once you master them. As the tornado spinning faster and faster, bringing balance to the tailbone area. If we take care of our spine, we take care of the physicality. Tailbone is where we root ourselves. As the tornado spinning faster and faster. Bringing balance to that area. Sun shining beautiful and brilliantly. More and more. Our third eye. With each breath, the tornado spins faster and faster. Minimal breathing. Body builds up CO2 to allow energy transfer. Let's move the focus up the spine to the middle of the kidneys. Tornado spinning faster and faster with each breath, bringing balance to that area. The sun is shining more and more brilliant. As we're floating through space, we have a whole different perspective without the physicality. All information is accessible. As the tornado spinning faster and faster, bringing balance to the king and queen, kidneys and adrenals. Beautiful, marvelous, amazing designs of creation, as is all things in creation. The sun is shining brilliantly. The breaths are low volume and deep. Feel the kidneys, even though we're floating around, we still have connection and the senses of the physicality. The kidneys are in a beautifully relaxed state. As tornado spinning faster and faster with each breath. We'll move up the spine into the area between the shoulder blades. Tip of the tornado between the shoulder blades. We can feel the spine elongating itself as the hydration moves in to the physicality through the breathing and meditation. We are nourishing our emotion. We are nourishing our mental body. We are nourishing our physicality through the fields. Every cell is nurtured and nourished. And the fields are getting stronger and stronger with each breath. And the sun is shining brilliantly, more and more so. And tornado spinning faster and faster. If the mind drifts, bring it back. Dump the thoughts in the tornado. Vortex implosion is part of creation. As the tornado is spinning faster and faster, with each breath, the sun continues to shine more and more brilliant. Feel the hydration, the moisture being created in your mouth. The physical body is all the intelligence of all the universes. It works on the same principles of the operations of the universe. Same basic principle of the atom. We can nourish ourselves doing the things we love, helping others through the gift of giving. As tornado spins faster and faster, with each breath, we move the focus of the tornado to the top of the head, center of the skull, right on top of the head, 1,000-point junction. Very powerful position. Tornado spinning faster and faster, bringing balance to that area of the head. We can feel all the chakras go back in line, back to balance. Not a care in the world. All these thoughts are mumbo jumbo. Dump them in the tornado. Bring them back to balance. Have nothing to do with us. Continuously focusing on the tornado spinning faster and faster with each breath. Keeping the tongue in the position you chose. Sunshine is getting brighter and brighter. We can ask ourselves, what's our purpose here? The answers may pop up in plain sight. May pop up there now. May pop up there in an hour, 2 hours, in a day. Once we create the intent and emotion, things must manifest. As the tornado spins faster and faster, we bring area balance to the whole area of the head. 1,000-point junction. We can feel our physicality getting stronger and stronger as we nourish the emotion and the soul. With each breath, the tornado spins faster and faster. The mind drifts, bring it back. Any thoughts, dump them in the tornado, and they will be brought back to balance, no matter what they are. Physical body is getting stronger and stronger as we bring balance to all the chakra fields. Let's move the focus to the third eye, where the sun is shining brilliantly. Tip of the tornadoes right in front of the third eye. Spinning faster and faster with each breath. The sunshine is brilliant, beautiful. Summer solstice. Longest daylight of the year. As the tornado is spinning faster and faster. Bringing balance to that area. You can feel more at peace, more calm. Joy. Feel the spine being elongated. The sun shining brilliantly. Tornado spinning faster and faster with each breath. As we bring the focus of the tornado to the throat, thyroid area, throat chakra. With each breath spinning faster and faster. The sun is still shining brilliantly in the third eye. The body is in so much of a relaxed state, we don't even feel it as we're floating around. The area of the voice. Sometimes we speak, but we're not heard. And with each breath, the tornado is spinning faster and faster, bringing balance to that area of the voice box. Send the information through the fields. Tornado spinning faster and faster, bringing balance to that area of the voice box. Sun is shining brilliantly. We move the focus into the heart chakra, strongest field of the physicality. We work in the element of heart, strongest field. This is how you move mountains. Let's leave them where they are. And use it to bring humanity in the realm of peace, balance, correct conduct through the heart chakra. Strongest fields of Plaf. And tornado spinning faster and faster, bringing balance to that area. You can see the fields coming out of the heart. Going completely around the earth, filling the heart fields. Into those who are in a state of emptiness. We can nourish them through the fields so that they have no choice but to choose peace, balance, correct conduct in everything they do. Each breath, tornado spinning faster and faster. All tensions completely melted away. As we nourish and nurture physicality, as the field strength gets stronger and stronger, we feel the spine elongating. As we move the focus down to the solar plexus, the final spot, and the sun shining more and more brilliant in the third eye. The tongue remains in the position you've chosen, and all thoughts that come, dump them in the tornado to bring it back to balance. A lot of nerve endings in solar plexus, bringing balance to the information highway of physicality. Each breath, the tornado spins faster and faster as we bring balance in that area. Feel the bodies becoming hydrated, nourished, nurtured. All thoughts that come in, just be conscious and keep the tornado spinning. On the top of your head. And every time negative thoughts come, just dump the thoughts in there. Bring it back to balance. Now we're working on solar plexus. And every breath, the tornado spins faster and faster. Now we bring the focus back to the breath. Drive the breath up the spine on the inhale, on the exhale down the front. Back of the tailbone, start there. Inhale, drive it up the spine. Top of the head, drive it down the front of the body. From the tailbone, on the inhale, drive it up the spine. On the exhale, drive it down the front of the body. Continue that for a few breaths. As we come down back into the physical body. back in the physical body. Move your fingers, your toes, feel your calves, your thighs, your buttocks, your lower back, stomach, upper back, chest, shoulders, arms, neck. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And we're back. Voila. Whoa, how long did we go? I was gone. Oh boy. So's everybody else. All right, so it was a awesome start to our new summer season up in the north.
Thanks very much. That was a really trippy meditation.
And they started to winter down in the southern hemisphere. So we'll see you on the page, and we'll see you next week.
Wednesday. Thank you. Bye.
Good night. Yeah. Thank you, guys.